Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Dr. Singaram, pediatrician. I am going to discuss about neonatal resuscitation case scenario. This is in line with the series of discussion I am doing related to clinical scenarios which you encounter in pediatric population, and this is also based on the recent pattern of NEET question, which is nowadays more and more into clinical reasoning type of questions. So we will start the discussion now. Before I start discussing the questions, let me give you a brief introduction to the neonatal resuscitation algorithm. What we are following nowadays is NRP 2015, which is 2015 updated guidelines. The components of neonatal resuscitation can be remembered as TABC: T for temperature, A for airway, B for breathing, and C for circulation. So if the baby is not crying at the time of birth, that is when you are going to start neonatal resuscitation. What we are going to do in the initial few steps is what we call it as the initial steps of neonatal resuscitation. They are called as the initial steps of neonatal resuscitation. The initial steps of the neonatal resuscitation includes shifting the baby to warmer, thereby maintaining the temperature. Second is to dry the baby. Third is to position the airway with the neck being in slightly extended position. It's a slight extension position, not hyperextension. It's slight extension so that the air column is like a straight tube. Positioning of the airway. The fourth one is clearing the secretions in the airway. You clear the secretions in the mouth and nose. Always remember, mouth has to be suctioned first before nose. This is to keep the airway patent. Then what else you can do? You can also gently stimulate the baby to start the process of breathing. In this process, we will be touching the baby and stimulating. So this is called as tactile stimulation. Tactile stimulation is either done by gently rubbing the baby's back or by flicking the soles of the baby. These all together contribute to the initial steps of neonatal resuscitation. Please remember, in most of the situation, after the initial steps, the baby starts crying. Suppose the baby is not crying after the initial steps of neonatal resuscitation, what you are supposed to do is two important things. One is to check the respiratory effort of the patient, of the baby. Second is to check the heart rate. Very, very critical is to check the heart rate. Now remember, the normal heart rate is somewhere between 120 to 160 per minute. And please note for your exams, if a baby goes in for significant hypoxia, one of the earliest thing to happen is decrease in the heart rate. Make a note of it. It is decrease in the heart rate, which is a significant response to hypoxia. Here the critical point itself is checking the heart rate. The point to be remembered is, if the heart rate is less than 100, you have to start positive pressure ventilation, which is what I abbreviate as PPV, positive pressure ventilation. Please remember, positive pressure ventilation can be given either by a non-invasive route, which is what we call it as a bag and mask ventilation, or it can be given by the invasive route, which is endotracheal intubation. Remember, in all clinical scenarios, initially bag and mask ventilation is attempted. If it is not successful, then only you are going to go for endotracheal intubation. Remember, there is one important point to be noted here. There is one very, very important contraindications for bag and mask ventilation, where I am not supposed to use bag and mask at all. What is that? That is CDH, which stands for congenital diaphragmatic hernia. Because the intestines have herniated into the thoracic cavity in this particular condition, if you give bag and mask, the air which is entering will also enter into the intestine. Okay, this will cause distension of the intestine and more compression of the lungs. That is why in congenital diaphragmatic hernia, bag and mask ventilation is absolutely contraindicated. Are you able to follow this, right? So, suppose you have started positive pressure ventilation, still there is no response. And again, the thing to be checked here is heart rate. Suppose even after starting positive pressure ventilation, heart rate drops to less than 60. Please note, heart rate drops to less than 60, then it is an indication for chest compression. Are you able to follow this? Now, even after chest compression, still the baby is not at all responding, then the last in this step of neonatal resuscitation is to administer adrenaline. In an attempt to increase the heart rate. Are you able to follow this? So this is a brief overview of the neonatal resuscitation, which you need to know for your exams. Remember, as I told in the beginning itself, it is 2015 updated guideline which you need to follow for the exams. With that introduction, let me start the first clinical case scenario. You have started resuscitation for a newborn who did not cry soon after birth. Even after initial steps, there was no response. The baby's heart rate is noted. Sorry, the heart rate is not given. Okay. The question is, which of the following should be assessed next in the decision making? So it is very clear. If I go back to the chart, what is given here? It is written as started resuscitation, did not cry, even after the initial steps. So even after initial steps, there is no response. So if we just go back to the after initial steps, what are the two things I was asking you to check for? What are the two things I was asking you to check for? One is the respiratory effort, second is the heart rate, and that is the answer for this particular question. So in this particular question, what is the answer? It is checking for the heart rate and respiratory effort, option D. Okay, remember, some of you tend to get confused with this option. Remember, it is given as heart rate and respiratory rate. It is not the respiratory rate, it is the respiratory effort. Just to emphasize that point only, I have taken up this question. It is heart rate and respiratory effort. Let's move on to the next question. A baby is delivered by normal vaginal delivery. The baby did not cry after birth. Immediately after birth, heart rate is 46 per minute. Next step in the resuscitation would be start chest compression, provide warmth in the radiant warmer and start initial steps of resuscitation, bag and mask ventilation and administer intravenous adrenaline. If you look at this algorithm, I had emphasized on two important heart rate, namely heart rate of less than 100. The second one is heart rate of less than 60. So if you go by this, you may be tempted to think that in this particular case, heart rate is given as 46 per minute, which is less than 60 per minute. So you may be thinking whether I need to start chest compression. Are you able to follow this? Now the point is, initially heart rate does not matter. Initially, that means the baby is born, soon after birth, you are going to start resuscitation. At that time, heart rate does not matter. All that matters at that time is whatever be the heart rate. Okay, you don't look at it in the first place itself. And whatever be the heart rate, what you need to do is, when the baby is not crying after birth, you always have to start the initial steps. And that is the answer for this question. So you can ask me the question, when do I want to check the heart rate and when do I want to make a decision based on the heart rate? The answer is heart rate has to be assessed. Heart rate has to be assessed and a decision should be based on this heart rate only after completing the initial step. Please make a note of it, only after completing the initial steps. In this particular case, we have not even started the initial steps. So what I am trying to tell you is, heart rate has got no role at this time. Only if I have started the initial steps and completed it, then I check the heart rate. It is less than 100. Then I will make my decision. Are you able to follow this? So always remember, whatever be the heart rate, immediately after birth, what you are supposed to do if the baby does not cry is to start the initial steps. And hence the answer is B. Provide warmth in the radiant warmer and start the initial step. Here in this particular question, heart rate of 46 per minute is actually given to confuse you. Okay, please make a note of it. Heart rate is assessed only after completing the initial steps. Right. Moving on to the next question. During resuscitation of a baby who did not cry at birth, even after the initial steps, the baby did not cry. Okay, even after initial steps, the baby did not cry. That's what is the question saying. Now, since the baby did not cry after the initial step, positive pressure ventilation was started with a bag and mask, and that is a protocol, hence it has been started, right? The question next is, which of the following is the most sensitive indicator that the baby is responding to this bag and mask ventilation? Is it the change in the color, increase in the heart rate, improvement in the oxygen saturation, or the baby starts crying? Remember, once the baby is responding, any of this can happen. Color will change, baby will start crying, the baby can have an increase in the heart rate, and also the oxygen saturation starts improving. But the question is, which is the most sensitive indicator? That is the question. Which is the most sensitive indicator is the question. Remember, while I was describing the neonatal resuscitation algorithm, I told you that one of the significant changes when the baby goes in for hypoxia is decrease in the heart rate. So if you put it in the other way, that is the baby's oxygen saturation is improving, then what do you think will happen to the heart rate? That will increase, and this is supposed to be the most sensitive indicator. Please make a note of it. Increase in the heart rate is the first response following a successful bag and mask ventilation or a positive pressure ventilation. It is the first response, and it is also the most sensitive response. Please make a note of it. The first thing is what we are always looking for. The first response is what we are always looking for, and that response is increase in the heart rate. This point has to be emphasized enough because this is one of the recently asked exam questions as well. Coming to the next case scenario, it is continuation of actually the previous question. Considering the previous case scenario, even after starting bag and mask ventilation, there was no response. What should be the next step? This is next step. What should be the next step? Initiate chest compression, endotracheal intubation, reposition the mask, give intravenous adrenaline. Any idea? See, once you have started bag and mask ventilation, most of the time what happens is that, means at the time of this neonatal resuscitation, what happens is that you might not have actually positioned the mask properly. Remember, the properly fitting mask should cover the nose and the mouth of the baby without extending to the sides or upwards and downwards. Are you able to follow this? But most of the times at the time of resuscitation, many of us may not have correctly positioned the mask. That is why there was no response to bag and mask ventilation. So always remember, when you don't get a response to bag and mask ventilation, don't jump and move to the next step of endotracheal intubation or chest compression. No. First thing you have to check is to check the position of the mask, and most of the time that is the reason, and the answer should be repositioning of the mask. Are you able to follow this? Always remember, repositioning of the mask is the first thing which should be done. Okay, suppose you have repositioned the mask. The answer for this question is clear. This question is done. Now, suppose as a continuation I ask you, you have repositioned the mask. Still there is no response. Then what is the thing which you are going to do? You have repositioned the mask, still there is no response. What are the things you are going to do? This is what we call it as ventilation corrective steps. This is what we call it as ventilation corrective steps, which is remembered as a mnemonic called as MR SOPA. This is remembered as a mnemonic called MR SOPA. SOPA. Okay, right. M means for the mask. I told you, no, you have to reposition the mask. Okay. Second thing is R for repositioning the head of the baby. Okay, repositioning the baby's head. Remember, the position I told you during neonatal resuscitation is slight extension of the head and neck. Is it not? Suppose you have not done that, then also the air column may not be like a straight tube, and that is why the baby may not be responding. So R for repositioning of the baby's head. Then S is for clearing the secretions. Okay, which could have been in the mouth or the nose. You have to clear the secretion. You have to apply gentle suction and take out the secretions. O stands for ventilating the baby with a slightly open mouth. Remember, slightly open mouth. Little bit you extend the mouth so that it opens little bit more, so that the ventilation will be better. So O for open mouth. Okay, right. And P for increasing the pressure in the airway. P for increasing the pressure in the airway. Are you able to follow? Right. Now A stands for alternative airway. So what would be the alternative airway which you are going to secure in case of bag and mask ventilation? That would be putting a endotracheal tube. That's all. Okay. So this is what we remember as MR SOPA. Reapplying or repositioning the mask, repositioning the baby's head, clearing the secretions, open mouth ventilation, increasing the pressure, and alternative airway in the form of endotracheal intubation. So please remember, in this, the first step is reposition of the mask, which is the answer for the question. Other steps are what I have summarized as MR SOPA, which you need to remember. Now coming to the last question, in which of the following scenarios bag and mask ventilation is contraindicated? I think I have already told you this when I was discussing this neonatal resuscitation algorithm. What is the answer for this question? It's straightforward. What is the answer? Yes, it is congenital diaphragmatic hernia. I told you, no, in congenital diaphragmatic hernia, already the intestines are inside the thoracic cavity compressing the lungs. When you give bag and mask ventilation, the oxygen or the air is not only going to enter into the trachea and the lungs, but it's also going to enter into the intestine. Already the intestines are inside the thoracic cavity, compressing the lung. So when air enters the intestine more, it will cause even further distension of the intestine and further compression of the lung. So that is why in congenital diaphragmatic hernia, it is absolutely contraindicated, right? Now you see the last option, both C and D. Okay, both C and D, right? Now what is the D option? Baby born by meconium stain liquor. Remember previously, if a baby is born by meconium stain liquor and did not cry, we used to say that bag and mask ventilation is contraindicated. Now it is not a contraindication. Please make a note of it. That is why to check whether you are updated with the new guidelines only, I have given up this option. Okay, I have given this option because previously many of the questions which came in the previous year's exam, they used to mention meconium stain liquor as one of the contraindication for bag and mask ventilation. But now it has changed. A baby with meconium stain liquor, if the baby does not cry after birth, there is no need that bag and mask ventilation is contraindicated. You have to go with the usual steps of neonatal resuscitation. Are you able to follow this, right? So that is to highlight that point only I have made up this question. Okay, right. Anyway, so that concludes the discussion of neonatal resuscitation case scenarios. I hope you have liked this video. Thanks for watching. Please feel to put down any comments if you have or any questions if you have. Do share with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to this channel to get the alerts whenever a video is posted. I will see you in the next clinical case scenario. Thank you and have a good day.